and Jimmy Cornette.
All right, Dutchin, thank you. Fans, right here with me, of course, the Louisville Slugger himself, Jim Cornette. I guess you got to say one of the premier managers in all of professional wrestling.
You know, I know what everybody out there in television land, I know what you're saying. Jim Cornette, you're an international star. You're a celebrity. Why are you in a nothing happening, stinking place like Greenville, South Carolina? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, I realize that it's not often you people in the backwoods, you hillbillies out in the sticks, get to see a celebrity. So today I was feeling charitable. But what's more, I heard that professional wrestling is coming back.
Yes, sir.
You see, over the past couple of years, these big corporations, these major promotions, they've turned it into a circus, into a sideshow. It's not whether you can wrestle anymore. It's whether you want to wear a funny costume. It's not whether you can fight. It's whether you can sell a doll over at Toys R Us. It's not whether you got guts. It's how juiced up on steroids you are. They've turned professional wrestling into a joke, so I turned my back on them. Because I made my reputation managing the greatest tag team in the history of wrestling, the Midnight Express. And they were a team that could wrestle and would fight and would let nobody stand in their way of getting to the top and winning a title. Nobody ever gave us anything. And we wouldn't turn around and do no favors. That's why they pushed us to the side. Well, brother, coming up in the weeks to come, I'm going to be bringing a dynamic tag team to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. A team that's going to revolutionize tag team wrestling just like the Midnight Express did, because, brother, this is the real deal. Ain't no cartoon wrestling, and Jim Cornette is going to be the king of the hill.
Fans, that's something to look for from Jim Cornette, and we'll be back right after this.
We had a whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's
word attack skills and vocabulary too. All the hits in the disposition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
What's up, everybody? Ringtime Pro Wrestling has returned. Keith is flying solo again. It is Friday Night Lights. For most of y'all, it might be Saturday morning. It'll be Saturday morning, definitely, when you download and get this. We are here to preview the wonderful weekend that's coming up in pro wrestling. Tomorrow night, or tonight, Saturday, live from Chicago, NXT Takeover, action-packed. The following night, Sunday, Money in the Bank. We got a stat card. We'll talk about it and give you the rundown and what we think will happen. Basically, preview match by match, lay it out. It's one of my favorite shows to do is the pay-per-view preview. I get to play guest booker and give you an idea. Well, not guest booker because it's my show, but I guess it's I get to play the booker, fantasy booker. That would be a better way to put it. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. We're going to do the show a little different tonight. And basically what we're doing is this. I'm not going to give you the recap of Raw, SmackDown. I'll give you the recap of NXT. Just going to lay out the cards, tell you what I think, and then go from there. And I mean, in preview of the show, we will do a little bit of recap of how we got here. But that's about it. So, before I jump right into that, just a little news and notes and stuff like that. Last week, I got a little feedback. Not last week, I guess a couple of days ago. Because Tuesday, we did the show where we recapped New Japan Dominion. We also talked a little bit of CM Punk and UFC 225. I don't want anybody to get the wrong opinion. I don't hate CM Punk. I think CM Punk will go down in history as an interesting figure in professional wrestling. Is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, his run at... I'll put this. Hall of Fame is hard. And it's hard in anything that you do because you stack resumes against previous resumes of how people got into the Hall of Fame. It gets a little weird. So, if Punk never wrestles again, I guess he still would be there, borderline. Because you gotta think he has a run. I mean, his prior to 2011, which is the breakout. That's the moment, right? 2011, the pipe bomb is his Austin 316 moment. But prior to that, he'd had like 2 world title runs. He first got to win Money in the Bank back to back. So yeah, I mean, he probably would go in. And I think the mystery of what his career could have been also will heighten some interest. I mean, you probably like going to the Hall of Fame. Understand this. There's bad blood with the WWE right now today. Now, Punk may hold that grudge forever and never go in. But in 15 to 20 years, man, who knows what happens. And I would say that if you know anything about professional wrestling, hey man, time heals all wounds. Because this is stuff people could... Look, Ultimate Warrior passed it up with the WWE before his death. And they put together a highly produced 90-minute documentary basically just drilling his personal reputation. So, hey man, who knows? But, no, I don't hate CM Punk. I just think he can be a hypocrite sometime. And I do think he takes himself a little too serious. I do think that here's the thing, and this happens with a lot of people in various careers, especially throughout entertainment. The thing that made him, he got to a point of he thought he was above it, and that just gets weird, right? Or he's too good for it, or whatever. I'll say this: it's kind of like with Kanye West. To a little bit, I think there's this thing that Kanye puts out where he's bigger than rap, and I need rap Kanye, honestly. And when he's rap Kanye, he's at his best. If you've listened to that new Nas album that he produced, that's rap Kanye. I got that. Pusha T's album, that's rap Kanye. But when Kanye goes off into La La and the Ye, I can't rock with that. The Ye, I'm sorry. Which is kind of funny because Kids See Ghosts is kind of experimental, but it works really, really well. But that's neither here nor there. That's kind of going off subject. That's like a whole nother podcast that may or may not ever happen. But back to wrestling. So that was that with the CM Punk thing. Also, some things I've neglected to mention over the past few weeks. If you get a chance to watch the Bipolar Rock and Roller, it's a documentary about probably the best announcer in the game, hands down, currently, Mauro Ranallo. Best play-by-play guy that they got going. His battles with bipolar and, working through mental illness. I feel about the issues that happened with him in the past that forced him off SmackDown, and glad to see he's back at NXT and the WWE. Did not let that great talent go to waste, because it wouldn't go to waste. They would have wasted the opportunity, because Maul's dance cart is full, right? Like, he's calling the biggest boxing events in the world. He's calling MMA. He's doing a lot, so it's like he wouldn't go to waste. Like, this was the ultimate side job for him, right? But he digs it, and he loves it, and he does his research. He's so crisp with the timing and the punchlines. So, because, here's the thing. People like to compare people from different things. I don't compare him to JR because JR did a different thing. It's just like Gordon Solie. I thought Gordon Solie is different than all of them. Equally all talented, just slightly different. But really cool to listen to. Really brings life to what you're seeing. But I definitely recommend watching the documentary. as an educational tool. I would tell people like, hey man, if you're not into wrestling, but if you're not into wrestling, there's no way you tune into this podcast unless you just happen to be like one of my friends on social media and saw a post that was like, oh, what is he doing? Why is he live doing something at like 1 o'clock in the morning? So that's that. But yes, definitely check that out. I think that's really it. We talked New Japan last week. We were good. Once again, this show will do a lot more of that. Speaking of which, Triple H said in the interview he is open to the idea of doing some cross promotion with New Japan. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah. Oh wow. So the funny thing is, when you talk about having a lawsuit, WWE Chris Amon, who was the subject of that CM Punk lawsuit. Also, yeah, we're talking about the lawsuit, man. I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on anybody. But one thing you learn from this lawsuit also is that if you dealing with something, I don't care what side you are on the lawsuit, man, just be prepared for it to come out, because all kinds of stuff came out in this thing. And that's why people hate lawsuits. So why the NFL owners currently hate the Colin Kaepernick thing now, because when you sit down in deposition, man, all kinds of stuff comes out. But yeah, apparently the doctor had a relationship with Jillian Hall. Like, how did that come up? Why did it come up? I don't even get it. I mean, and maybe it's just to establish a timeline. I don't know. And then it's like, I don't know what she's doing in her personal life, but she don't want that. Y'all can talk about y'all thing without me. This ain't got nothing to do with her. But that's neither here nor there. Let me get into this wrestling. Let's get into the fun stuff. So, NXT Takeover is in Chicago. I mean, the whole weekend is in Chicago, which, if you know me, you know that I think that's the greatest thing in the world. Pro wrestling Chicago is a great place for pro wrestling. I think it's the right atmosphere. The fans are rabid. They can't wait. You saw their reaction at UFC last week at 225. So they're there. They're ready. And guess what? You will hear CM Punk chants. Probably not at TakeOver, but definitely at Money in the Bank and at Raw on Monday. So that's day 2. 4 days in Chicago, because you're going to have the aftermath of the event, and then we're going to have 4 days in Chicago, because I'm pretty sure Raw and SmackDown will all emanate from Chicago. So let's go ahead and get ready to talk about TakeOver. NXT, they run this wrestling. NXT, no, okay, sorry, having a little too much fun. But yes, let's go TakeOver. Oh, wrong notes. That's what happens when you have too many Word files open. Alright, so I'm going to go down the card. We got 5 matches scheduled. That's what we're looking at. Now, I want you guys to understand that I think this will be the event that steals the show this weekend. And it will be presented with a startling level of efficiency, because it's going to be 2 hours, 8 to 10, Saturday night, where Money in the Bank is probably going to run from 7 o'clock till 11:45. And it's going to be draining. So, let's leave that alone too, because I'm Like, hey. But, let's go down to matches. So, the first match of the night will probably be either the tag match. I don't know if they're going to go with Velvet and Ricochet immediately, but they're going to do something high intensity, high energy. The tag matches usually are the best route to go. I've seen with these pay-per-views right now is to open a match. So let's say the Undisputed Era with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. They're going to take on Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch. I think that team has a future. And they look the part. They'll be interested, but I don't see any reason why the Undisputed Era gives up those belts. I think Kyle and Roddy are going to hold on. I think Roddy is going to transition and maybe go after like the UK title when Bobby Fish comes back. But I think those belts will stay with the Undisputed Era. Also, Adam Cole is not busy tonight. So, be prepared. Watch your back. So, the belts will stay with Undisputed Era. That's easy. Shayna Baszler will defend the NXT Championship against Nikki Cross. I think Shayna retains the title. She just won it. I think she's going to be set for a dominant run with the belt because I think they have such high hopes for her. They want Shayna to hold on to this belt, build it up, lose when it's time for her to go to the main roster. But a dominant run as NXT Women's Champion before she makes the main roster move, and then has a fight with Ronda Rousey at some point. Because they are friends, and the story there is easy to build, right? And if Ronda is running roughshod over the division, the counterbalance to that is a legit MMA star who was ranked in UFC. See, the thing is with Sonya Deville, I know they said she had an MMA background, but I don't know nothing about her. See, Shayna's one of the member of the Four Horsewomen, so she's in the clique. So it's an easier story to push. And also we've seen Sonya Deville get beat too many times. So Shayna will do the destroyer thing and did. So she's not going to lose to Nikki Cross. Nikki may be going to the main roster sooner than later. I don't know. I guess they just didn't sit her over with sanity. And it's kind of probably like how Carmella didn't run right away with Enzo and Cass when they came. So, it is what it is. I'm going to preview the men's world title match because I figure it probably will exist around this time of the show. It won't be the main event. Why? Because it's probably one of the least interesting men's title matches we've had in a while. I mean, this is Seattle Lobbins versus Drew McIntyre level of disinteresting. As good as Aliester Black was, I think the climb is more interesting than the reign so far, and I think that's just opponent positioning. And eventually we'll get an opponent that I think will challenge him better. But Lars Sullivan, I honestly don't even see, as strong as he is, as big as he is, and all that, it's just his look. And maybe I'm stereotyping, but his look doesn't say champion to me. Like, it doesn't say company face. Like, it doesn't say anything that would, it would be more, I don't know, take challenging for the North American title. I don't know. Like, it's not, I'm not buying this match. And it doesn't really have a build. Like, we're coming into a hot pay-per-view in a hot city, and you don't really have anything for this. But Aliester Black will keep his title also. So I'm predicting no title changes. I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody's changing titles. This match will be the next match on the card at some point. Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet. Now, what I said about one match, I'm going to say the complete opposite thing about this one. Nice build-up. The promos have been amazing. The back and forth between the two of them, I think it's been helpful. And, hey man, if you saw NXT when Ricochet flipped out of the ring, I was like, oh. Like, everybody had to replay. And I've seen him do some amazing things. The guy is an incredible athlete. But the way he did that, like, just, I'm going to come talk to you, and flips out the ring and lands on his feet, like, you know, that ring is up kind of high. And you have to clear the ropes, like, from the ring, do the flip. And, I mean, clear the ropes makes it much higher. Because it's probably like 3 feet off the ground. The ropes are probably about another 4 feet tall. So he's jumping over that and landed on his feet. Like, what are you doing? But it looked amazing. Like, he didn't stumble or anything. It's like, whoa. I know it's been said before, but like, this guy might be a real life superhero. Like, this is some Marvel stuff. But I think it has a good story. I think they will have probably the best match of the night. Like, I think that's safe to say. Like, the next match will give it fits, but it won't be the match of the night because it's going to be a street fight. But this will be match of the night. I think Ricochet wins barely. Like, he'll fly by the skin of his teeth. One, he can't lose his first pay-per-view in the WWE. Like, Ricochet is one of those guys, I'm pretty sure. He kept his name. Like, they let him keep his name. So, if they let him keep his like, they didn't say, all right, you've been Ricochet all these years, and I know there's name value in that, because they've done this, but we're going to call you Speed Bullet. And that'll be a WWE intellectual property, and we'll take care of that. No, man, that kid is Ricochet. I think he's probably negotiated himself a wonderful deal, and he'll be headed to the main roster sooner than later. But yeah, that's where we are with that. Now, the main event will be Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Why would it be the main event? One, nobody wants to follow that. Like, that was proven at the last time they faced off at pay-per-view. At their unsanctioned match. Nobody wants to follow that. And I don't blame them. I also like this match because I think it teaches a lesson. Now, part of the reason the lesson was taught is because Ciampa was hurt. So he could not continue the beginnings of the feud. Right? So that matters. But I think it still was helpful. This is the most consistent and cohesive narrative that they've had with something. And I think it shows that it's worth them checking and figuring out and where I'm going with this. But Gargano and Ciampa, like, you believe it. Like, it's not like, it's like these people have real beef. Candice LeRae has become a part of it, and she's trying to stop Johnny because she feels like he's going over the edge. And they've done a really good job storytelling this thing out. And picking a winner will be hard. Because Gargano had to win the unsanctioned match because we had to get him back in. He was gone. He had to come back. So you have to resurrect him. I think Ciampa wins, and you got a little bit more intrigue. So, I'm speaking as a writer, I would say we go with Ciampa. And LeRae will support her husband, but also kind of, I tell you so, like you off into this realm where this ain't you. And you got to figure it out. But they can move on. So, yeah, I think that probably, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ciampa. I think Ciampa beats Gargano. And then we come back with another match, which at the next takeover, it'll be another brutal match, which will probably put him in a cage. But it does show that if you could keep a storyline consistent, but keep people engaged, man, it will work for you. Like I said, that's the main event. That ain't a title match. So, take it as it is. But, yeah. So, with that being said, and that being done, we're going to go for our break, and then we'll be back and we'll preview Money in the Bank. And after that, man, we good. Y'all can take it to the crib. No, I'm just saying. But yeah, we'll be back right after the break. So, there we go.
Guys, you can't help but hear the audience chanting, "New Day sucks." What's your reaction to that? How's that been affecting you?
Hurts, Renee. Hurts.
Renee, it's disappointing. But we promise you will not find disappointment in our dancing. You won't find it in our chanting, and you definitely won't find it in our clapping. You see, Renee, we clap or we snap.
That's right. You see, Renee, yesterday I was at the airport getting something to eat, and a kid came up to me and said,
Mr. E, that New Day thing is terrible. But my brother's a big fan, and can you sign this breakfast menu for him?
And I replied, of course I can, buddy boy. And you know why I'm able to? Because I clap.
I'd have kicked that kid to the curb.
Welcome. We are back. Hope you enjoyed our little break. Money in the Bank. So, if you do not know the history, Money in the Bank was a concept created by Chris Jericho, and I think Bischoff was in on it and stuff like that. Back in the Raw days, in the original brand split. It was established to be used at WrestleMania. Basically, once a year at WrestleMania, 7 lucky young competitors would have a chance to compete for the Money in the Bank briefcase by climbing the ladder. The person who climbs the ladder takes the briefcase is the winner. That briefcase is good for a world title shot anytime, any place. You just got to be cashed in. If you see the first ever cash in, it's Edge cashing in on John Cena. Edge cashes in on John Cena after he just finished an Elimination Chamber. CM Punk cashed in on Edge after he got beat up by Batista and won that way. So different things have happened, right? Most recently, Carmella cashed in after Charlotte was attacked by the Iconics. So, it is what it is. It's now been turned to its own standalone pay-per-view, which I hate. I liked it better just as a part of WrestleMania. But here we are. And this year we have 2 matches again, the men's and the women's. Now, last year it was exclusive to SmackDown. This year it is a Raw and SmackDown thing. Each match consists of 4 superstars for Raw, 4 superstars for SmackDown. Now, I'm not sure of the stipulations of that this year. You have to challenge on your own brand. But ideally, what would make this thing really sizzle is if the briefcase is good for a cash in on any world title or any show. Because what that would mean is that, hey, if I am or a SmackDown guy, if I'm the Miz, I have won the Money in the Bank. I just happen to show up at Raw. I could cash in. And I think that would be interesting. And then what you got, hey, effectively then he switched brands. It'd be the Benoit switch via Royal Rumble 2004. So just something that the people would think about. So, yeah. Let's get the preview. So, they got this on the pre-show card slated. I don't know if it's going to stay on pre-show card. But, and mind you, this show has a lot of matches listed. But it's going to start at 7 because 7 o'clock now is the official pay-per-view start time. Which, this is what happens when one company becomes like the key. It becomes basically their only competition because somebody would have told you that is too long. Like, you have to have good context of time of how that stuff should work out for you. Anyway, the Bludgeon Brothers will defend their tag team championships for SmackDown against Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Once again, it's a pre-show. The match actually has the proponents to be very interesting because Harper and Rowan intimidate based on their size. They're big people. But Gallows and Anderson are not shrimps, especially Gallows. Gallows is probably as big as either one of the other guys. So now you have a legitimate fight. You do not have baby faces that need sympathy. You have guys who are ready to fight. Now, will they win that match? I'm going to take a flyer on Gallows and Anderson. One, I think somebody might have said, hey, this Bludgeon Brothers thing isn't really working. Like, the buzz ain't cracking for them. Their people ain't really interested. Two, I think not only will I say, I think it'll give a shot in the arm if Anderson and Gallows win the belts. And because of the association with AJ Styles, now you got something where people can look at them. You know, they'll be seen more as a top tier group. And I think it'll work for them. Right away, I go right to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I just shuffled the card anyway I could. So I don't know if it'll happen in this order. The women's ladder match consists of Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. Okay, this is what I'll say. I'm going to take Charlotte Flair immediately out of consideration for winning this match. One, she's probably going to have surgery right after the match, so that's that. Two, it would be the most redundant and needless thing for her to win Money in the Bank. It's just a matter of time before you put her back in the title match and then do it that way. Or she gets hired and does some, I don't know. Point is, Charlotte is out of this mix because she is possibly greatest all time. Like, there's no need to put that belt. So I will take her out. So that gives me 7. I don't think Becky Lynch would win. Natalya, I would hope. Here's the thing. Lana would be my dark horse. I don't think she would. She'd be my dark horse. Why? Because you never know when the WWE is going to do something crazy and nonsensical. I mean, they put the belt on Carmella, so it ain't the most sensible place, is what I'm saying. Also, in this communication, I forgot what to say, but basically, I can see them screwing the world to put it on Lana, but that would be a bad idea. Sasha Banks would be a good one. Why? Because she's had a run of bad luck. So ideally what this would be this is, hey, I've had a run of bad luck, but I've won this match. And winning this knows I'm getting back to myself and I'm going to get back to the world title. It would just easier. So I think you could honor Sasha Banks. Okay, last year basically was a series of first. Every time we came down to an elimination chamber or a match that had been done, hey, this was the first by a woman that somebody was in. I think she deserves something. So this would be nice. Other than that, I think Ember Moon would be a good pick to win the Money in the Bank, because she's the young gun here out of all of this. Everybody else has kind of been around a while. And Naomi, Becky, Natalya, I mean, they're all former champions. So it was kind of funny when they were doing the promo, like, one of these people will change their careers and their lives by winning this. Like, no, y'all are ring with a bunch of former champs. They can't change their life with this. Anyway, I'm going to look at the idea of Alexa Bliss possibly winning. Even though she's decorated, her heel persona makes it good stuff for her and fitting. So yeah, that happened. So if let's put Ember Moon at the top right now and make Ember Moon the winner. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, last man standing match. I do not have high hopes for this match, but this has to be the culmination of their feud, I hope. I'm not sure who thought of the low blow thing, but who don't do that no more. Just not helpful. So, looking at things, I'm going to say AJ Styles still wins. AJ wins because AJ's next feud probably would be Samoa Joe. It's just more reasonable for AJ to have the belt. So, I'll go with AJ Styles. Raw Women's Championship. Nia Jax defends against Ronda Rousey in only her second WWE wrestling match ever, and her first ever major singles wrestling match. She will be facing but yeah. But yeah, no. They spent a lot of money on Ronda Rousey, I'm sure. So they're trying to figure out how to recoup. And she's going right to the main time because they're not going to polish her. They like, this. We're trying to get as much out of the box office draw. Strange enough, I think Ronda Rousey beats Nia Jax. I think she hits Nia Jax with the armbar. Nia Jax has a very short-lived run as champ, and it was because of their price tag. Okay, so Ronda Rousey will take the women's title. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. This match is not the most necessary match, but it's happening, right? Just understand that it's happening. Ideally, this would be a good spot for Jinder. But Roman Reigns is going over. And they will boo the hell out of him in Chicago. But he's going over. And we're going to keep doing that. Carmella will defend her women's title against Asuka. This actually is one of the more compelling matches. Money in the Bank cash-in winner versus the woman who at one time populated an undefeated streak that we broke for no real apparent reason, right? So, I guess the idea is, hey, at least they didn't break the streak on a Money in the Bank cash in, because we're going to go with Carmella to win the title. So, Asuka's back. What do you do? Do you take that push and that thing and do you throw it away, or do we try to get some of that shine back? Because it's the WWE and I don't expect it to make sense, I expect Carmella to fully win this match. Will she do it clean? No. but she will win the match. And that will be the new dynamic and the interesting thing. What caused her to win the match? Because will she do something that, or will somebody do something on her behalf that will have people saying, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know they was together. I didn't know that they was tight. But yeah, that's where I'll go. Bella, keeping the belt. Oh God, that's going to suck. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. This match is actually kind of unnecessary. And I don't say it's unnecessary. They're trying to build something. They're trying. But it was thrown together. I don't really care for... I don't care for Sami Zayn anyway. I liked El Generico. Not a fan of Sami Zayn. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what to do with that. The skits that they've had, this, with Bobby and Bobby's sisters, and we're trying to get to know Bobby personally and all that. Like, it's terrible. And the feud does nothing. I mean, it's just occupying time. I got nothing. But Bobby Lashley will win. Seth Rollins will defend the IC title against Elias. This is kind of thrown together, but I like it. It's a good spot for Elias. I think Seth Rollins will retain his title. I think that he is the hottest guy on Raw right now. I think he is really worked on and improved things that are necessary. Elias needs to push, and he needs to stage, and I think this works for him. Ideally, I would have this match where Rollins win, but he's very, very, very barely squeaks it out. I wouldn't even use the curb stop in this match. He'd have to pin it with like a roll up, and like he got out of there, but there was a chance. So when Elias comes back Monday and talks his stuff, he almost had it and let it be there. So that's that match. Another match that I don't think is even pay-per-view worthy. It happened already. We know who won, but Daniel Bryan will take on Big Cass in a singles match. The only way to really get this one is Cass has to beat Bryan. Now, if Cass beats Bryan in Chicago, they will riot. Or at least accept the idea. So, right. Yeah. So, it's kind of hard. But yeah, I'm going to go with Cass. Also, just for the functionality of the feud, I think Cass hasn't picked up something. And he's 7 foot. And you can't teach that. So, there's that. That gets us to our last match. Like, oh wow, we have really ran through this thing. The men's pay-per-view. I mean Money in the Bank match. Here's a scenario. I'll give you the names to tell you what happened. Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and one of the members to be announced from the New Day. This is what I can tell you. There are actually no bad choices in this match. But this is what I can do. I'm going to eliminate Braun Strowman for one reason or reason only. He can challenge Brock Lesnar deliberately and publicize it and force his hand. Okay. So, there's that. Finn Balor would be a good candidate. The Miz is always a good candidate. He'd be a 2-time Money in the Bank winner, and you'd never hear the end of it. Rusev Day. Rusev Day could be popping in a final. Yeah. So yeah, I can see that, but no. Bobby Roode would be interesting because Bobby Roode, I think, needs to set up for a heel turn anyway, and I think having a briefcase, man, he can really make magic work. KO, I think he's already done what he could do. I think a good run with a belt, a little more equipped. I don't know. Samoa Joe is kind of in a boat with Braun. I mean, we can legitimately book him to win without it. But he could take that to say, hey, I want this and I don't want stuff, just jacked up stuff. But yeah. Here's my winners. Finn Balor, because it will put him back in the mix. And he finally can get a shot at getting his Universal title back. The Miz, because what else is there? Nothing could probably be more annoying. Nothing could be. It's probably that. And that's it. And I'll put Bobby Roode as a dark horse. But that'd be my top 3. It doesn't matter who comes in for the New Day. I don't think they're not going to get picked. So that's easy. And with that being said, that's it, man. That's our breakdown of the show. We'll be back next week to do a recap show. Probably kind of similar to how we did the New Japan, where we probably just do it on Tuesday. We appreciate y'all for listening. Stack up the card, retweet, share the show, share on Facebook, and also follow along with the pay-per-view. Remember what we said. So see if the Bludgeon brothers win and I was wrong. See if Ember Moon don't take that money to break briefcase. AJ Styles versus Shinsei. See who go hold on to that belt or lose it. So all that's there. And you can go back through the archives, see what I talked about, and compare your notes. But with that being said, we are out. Peace. See y'all next time. Boom.